Greetings. I'm Chaplain Johnson, the Garrison Chaplain for Rheinland-Pfalz. I thought I'd take a few moments to share some thoughts with you in the midst of our current situation. Several years ago, my wife and I had the pleasure to visit Tucson, Arizona, and while we were there, we stopped by the biosphere. The biosphere is a scientific experiment dating back 25 years ago, wherein they built a large covering area built of glass and steel with the idea of reproducing all of the ecosystems of the world within those glassed-in walls. In there they had a small tropical rainforest, they had a prairie land, a desert, they had a woodland area, and in those they planted the appropriate plants and trees for all of these different biospheres. They put in all the animals that would be around there, even down to the insects. They loaded all of these areas up exactly as they are on our great Earth. And then a group of 7 scientists entered the biosphere and sealed it off, closed the doors, not even air could escape. Only sunlight came in and out through the big glass windows, and they had a data cable so that they could communicate with the outside world. The idea of the biosphere was, of course, one day astronauts may explore the farthest reaches of our solar system, and they may need to be in a spaceship for many, many months at a time. And so they wanted to see if it was possible to reproduce a small Earth that would be self-contained and capable of being on its own for a long time. The biosphere group learned a number of things in the year that they were sealed up together. A number of interesting conclusions came out of this experiment. One of the most remarkable things that they learned was when the trees that they had planted reached a certain height, they'd get higher than just a sapling, they'd reach a certain weight and height, they would just fall over. When those trees were examined, they found that they had a very shallow root system. The roots had not developed long and big enough to support a tall, heavy tree. The scientists were baffled. What had they done wrong? They had reproduced all of the systems that the earth had, and the soil was deep enough, the soil had enough nutrients, there was enough water being applied to the trees, everything was going right, but the trees just wouldn't develop a sufficient root system to hold them up. And then somebody had the idea of what they were missing. The missing element was the wind. The wind would blow against the trees when they were very young saplings. A gentle breeze would blow from one direction, and the programming of that tree, whether it was by God or the universe, however you want to put it, programmed that tree to send down a root in the opposite direction from the wind. And then a few days later, a gentle wind would blow that little sapling from the other direction, and the tree would respond the same way by putting a root down in the opposite direction of that wind. Until after months and then years, that tree would develop a long and deep and extensive root system that if you've ever seen an uprooted tree, the roots below the ground are as deep and as complex as the branches above the ground. And the thing that produces those roots is the wind. It's an interesting allegory for how we live our lives. I know of some parents who do their best to protect their children from every little stress that comes. They boldly stand between the stressor and their child in order to ensure their child never has to endure any hardship. The problem is, just like the wind on that young sapling, if a child never has stressors, if the child never has difficult things to puzzle through in their life, they won't put down the roots that they need to hold them up when they get bigger and taller and their parent can't stand in the way of the stressors anymore. Sometimes I think about the stresses that I have in my life, including the stressors that this current situation has placed on all of us. The need for physical distancing, not being able to gather with my friends, not being able to shop and eat in restaurants and all the things we're accustomed to. But I don't worry about getting through these things because I know that I have a deep and complex root system that's developed over years of breezes and heavy winds that have helped me to endure the stressors I've gone through in the past and will help all of us endure the stressors that you're going through now. I want you to know that all of the chaplains in the Rhineland-Pfalz community are still working and are still here to support you and your families, whether you're military, civilian, retiree, or a family member. You can reach out to all of us. Our phone numbers are posted on the RSO page and on many other sources. And if some of the stressors that you're undergoing seem to be a little too hard for you to take, I encourage you to reach out and talk to some of us. We have a lot of experience, a lot of years of working with people between us, and whether you're a religious person or not, we'd be happy to talk with you about some of those things and help you find a way through the storms of your life. I'm grateful to be here with you and to go through the things we go through as a team, as a family, as a strong Army family. God bless you.